Rachel, 32, runs a domestic HVAC maintenance business in Denver. Despite its lack of a skyscraper office or fancy clothes, the position is something I established from scratch after over 10 years of hard work. I'm proud of it, even though my family disagrees. This Thanksgiving marked it. A day meant to be complete became the time I realized my true status in the eyes of my loved ones. As evening approached, I left the client's home after completing substantial maintenance. As I returned home, I felt relaxed. The company was closed for the holiday, my team had received bonuses, and I brought an expensive red wine to the family gathering. Since my father's passing, my mother has cooked a big Thanksgiving meal and invited everyone. I was there every year. The phone vibrated. My mother, I said, Marjorie. Hi, Mom, I'm going home. Would you rather I bring apple pie or mashed potatoes to this year's party? The opposite side's wait felt particularly long. She said with a shaky voice, Rachel, I'm come to say something essential and hope you understand. I frowned. Mother, what? This year, you might not want to join us for Thanksgiving. I almost dropped the gas pedal. You mean what? Ethan, Chloe's boyfriend, invites his parents. They practice law conventionally. Chloe likes formality in everything. I grabbed the steering wheel tightly, my heart thumping. You mean I can't attend? Am I not family? Rachel, that's not my point. You are definitely family. Chloe is deeply hurt. Your perception may deceive. My point is, maybe because I'm an HVAC tech, should I blame my non-Ivy League education? I broke up with her, my voice shaking. Avoid complicating things, Rachel. She sighed, her tone softening as I had learned to expect. The way she spoke before admitting a major betrayal and expected my approval without hesitation. I suppressed my fury. Remember who paid Chloe's tuition? For 4 years, I paid for her New York education, never missed a deadline. The life I was denied, I gave her. Mother quieted. Softly, she said, It's only one evening, Rachel. We may meet again later. How about brunch? I hung up. I resisted tears. I gripped the wheel in my automobile, feeling empty. It felt like a piece of me was ripped away, something I didn't realize I was holding on to. After an hour of solitude in my apartment, my cousin Tessa's message flashed on my phone. Sharing this with you was vital. Chloe told her mother her actions humiliated her. She wants her boyfriend's family to have no idea she does manual labor. My mind kept returning to that line. I held the phone so hard that my fingertips left faint traces on the screen. Chloe, my sister, who idolized me when I gave her a laptop on her 18th birthday. The female I walked 3 snowy blocks to get her rent money. My presence embarrassed her now. As I sat at the dinner table, surrounded by laughter and toasts, it became brutally evident that I would be a shadow in their joy, not a part of their conversations. I had nowhere to belong. It seems my disappearance would go unnoticed. I didn't exist for them. The following morning is still fresh in my thoughts. The kitchen window let in early winter sun as if time had stopped. A forgotten cup of coffee became cold next me as I sat alone, the phone softly on the wooden table. I should have made a pie, picked a clothing, and prepared to laugh with my family like I usually do. I felt empty this year. I aimlessly explored social media. It hit me like a gut punch when I saw the photo. Only Chloe shared. She stood in her mother's living room wearing a bright red dress, holding Ethan's hand. Behind them, the dining table was perfectly set. Beautiful blossoms, shimmering flames. Perfect. A warm Thanksgiving with loved ones. I wasn't there. My existence and whereabouts were ignored. After setting down my coffee, my phone vibrated again. Her name was Tessa, my cousin, the only family member that contacted me beyond a request. Are you okay? It was her first contact. Another communication arrived before I could react. Even though it's hard to hear, you should know. Chloe advised against attending because she thinks her boyfriend's family will discover her working-class roots. If Rachel comes, they'll think we live in a garage. Stood still. I repeated it, hoping I misinterpreted it or that Tessa was joking. I knew Tessa was different. Deep down, I knew it was what Chloe would say. It wasn't the first time she ignored my efforts. During my sophomore year, I visited her dorm in my worn work clothes after finishing a task. She quickly led me into a corner and whispered, "Can you change shirts? We're all in law school." It seems odd. I let go. I ignored it often. I thought she was naive and humiliated. I thought she'd realize that social standing doesn't define value. The scenario was misjudged. I erred from the start. From the day Chloe arrived at Columbia, I paid her tuition. The cost per semester approaches $18. $18,000. I worked longer hours, skipped vacations, and denied personal days to relieve her of tuition, books, and housing worries. I never sought praise. I didn't need Christmas cards. I thought supporting her and living a fulfilling life would get me a seat at the family table. I wasn't worthy of Chloe's attention. I felt little. My heart raced as I closed my phone. My anger, shame, grief, and disillusionment swirled inside me without end. Clarity came to me as I watched the automobiles pass under a dark sky. Not the lack of an invitation hurt me. It was being erased by a loved one. In that odd, motionless moment, I realized I had to change course. I couldn't stand being ignored. I wasn't alone in clinging to unrequited relationships. After coming inside, I sat at my desk and accessed Chloe's tuition private folder. The notification stated $18,740 due in 14 days. Eliminated payment option with cursor. A warning came. Do you wish to delete your payment method? This choice is final. I acted immediately. Pressed. Confirm. My laptop closed with a quiet click, but it seemed like a door closing for good, for better. The next morning at 7 a.m., I was at my desk with a steaming cup of tea and my laptop showing the Dartmouth College login page. I entered my email and password. The message, "Welcome back," Rachel C., returned. The tuition payment part stood out. Spring term balance is $18,740. You must pay within 14 days. Each time I saw that message, I sighed, grabbed my money, and paid quickly. My hands were steady this time. My cursor was over the Remove Payment Method button. A little alert appeared. Do you wish to delete your account? This choice is final. After staring at the screen, I clicked Confirm. A little bell ended it all instantly. I heard my phone buzz a few minutes later. My mother called first. Brittany suddenly called as I was ready to answer. Both calls went to voicemail. I knew they wouldn't give in. I silenced my phone and continued working. My phone buzzed nonstop while evaluating Quinn and Harris Law Office's HVAC system at lunchtime. A quick glance revealed 8 missed calls and 14 unread texts. I realized I should have ignored them, but a single message from Brittany stopped me. Did you just do what? The school told me my tuition is unpaid. Your account is inaccessible. Answer my call immediately. Soon after, my mother wrote, Rachel, don't mistreat your sister. She depends only on you. The clipboard I clutched felt cold as I stood still in the client's reception room. A shiver ran through me. Not because of the air conditioning, but because my mother saw me as the final resort to keep her daughter from falling. She was not her daughter, not someone who worked hard for a decade, a moneymaker. Mom made her 12th call that afternoon on my way home. I replied sadly. Her voice burst. Fraught. Rachel, you can't ignore this. Do you notice Brittany's anxiety? My voice was steady as I held the wheel. Yes, I understand. She should feel haste, in my opinion. Is this too harsh? Mom said, her voice cracking with anger. Her studies are nearing completion. What if she must leave? I laughed briefly. Brittany is old enough to understand her actions, Mom. Adulthood has arrived, not someone I must help. You promised to support her until graduation. I contemplated. I promised to help my sister. However, the Brittany you're defending, that person doesn't consider me family. I need not support ungratefulness. Mother quieted. As usual, she lowered her voice to convey guilt. You are the only family member who can help. Are you really leaving your family? I pushed my lips together, staring at the path. People who only seek something from family aren't relatives. You can eat with family even if your job is simple. Mom, I can't keep paying you. Deep breath out. She then gave her usual goodbye. You've changed. I mustered a nasty smile. Absolutely not, Mom. I'm finally accepting myself. I hung up. I lay in bed that night, staring at the pale ceiling and letting the calm envelope me. The continuous calls, desperate messages, and manipulation are replaced by silence. A soft bell rang out. A new alert. Rachel. I can't believe you betrayed me. I lost everything. I hope you like your decision. I examined the message for what seemed like an eternity. Nobody responded. Brittany may not realize that her deeds caused her downfall long before I ruined her life with one click. My phone was silent for 3 days after Brittany's last message, so I lost track of time. Mom is silent. No distant family messages. The area was quiet. A year ago, I would have cried over my void. However, now, treasured silence surrounded me. Without hope. Nobody is to blame. I'm done playing the loyal sister. Tessa contacted me when I was reviewing work materials. Anyone heard the news? Her voice was quiet but urgent. Heard what? Even though I knew, I asked. Brittany. She visited Blake's residence this morning. I frowned. Blake? Brittany's partner? Refusal. Tessa said, now just an ex-boyfriend. Calmly. Straightened up. Could you elaborate? Tessa inhaled deeply. Ethan called off their connection. He left his residence this morning. Brittany cried for almost an hour in Blake's yard. I stayed quiet. I finally felt surprised after weeks of numbness. Understand the reason? Tessa persisted. Ethan told his mother Brittany lied about her tuition payment. He assumed her family paid all Columbia bills. He was speechless when he realized you were her sister. A shiver ran through me. Not joyous. Not for retribution. I understood Brittany hadn't just erased me from her life. She replaced me with an invisible reality, to fit in with a reality she imagined she deserved. For how long did she deceive Ethan? I asked. Tessa said uncertainly, nearly 2 years. Ethan felt like he had entered an elaborate production where the protagonist was an illusion. The Columbia Student Office sent an email that afternoon. Please note that Brittany Whitmore's principal payment method has been removed from her student account. Her finances are questionable. Update your payment method by January 10th to avoid university withdrawal. I choose not to share. Lost contact with my mother. Brittany was in the dark. I briefly glanced at the message before closing my screen. However, Brittany always contacted Ethan. They met at a popular Cherry Creek cafe that night. I was gone. Tessa knew a worker there. Rumors spread quickly. Tessa arrived 15 minutes late and remembered Ethan waiting for her, his presence a strong reminder of her tardiness. Her tone was sympathetic and uncomfortable. She wore silk, fully cosmetic, like she was preserving the last glimmer of an ideal life. So what? I asked. Ethan silenced her, preventing full expression. He confronted her. Why did you lie about Rachel? The moment was imagined. Brittany's face stiffened, her fingers tangled uncomfortably under the table. He learned it from her. She was deeply ashamed. She feared he would think she was manipulating the situation. Her family dynamics were complicated, and she wanted to appear good to Ethan's parents. It was expected. Brittany had a unique writing style. Subtle, oblique, evading blame, yet appearing pure. However, Ethan wasn't convinced. Tessa persisted. He told her, if you have the maturity to construct a future for yourself, you should also respect the person who gave you that possibility. I stayed quiet. Sadness weighed me down. It was unclear if it was for Brittany or if someone outside the family revealed what I had always been frightened to ask. Ethan added another point. Tessa finished her work. I cannot like someone ashamed by their family. Today is your sister, but tomorrow may be mine. Resting in my chair, I closed my eyes. Brittany lost her tuition. Her relationship with her partner was over. Her inability to understand why everything was falling apart was even more agonizing. 3 days after my last contact with Tessa, Columbia sent me another email. Your final warning. Brittany Whitmore will be dropped from spring semester enrollment if her tuition is not paid by January 10th. This issue must be resolved quickly to avoid academic disruptions. I read that paragraph 3 times without feeling anything, not anymore. I gave Brittany more chances than anyone else. She just made me something to hide behind silk curtains. Brittany called 6 times that fateful night. I declined. Her messages poured in. I admit fault. I was terrified of being judged. Not fair to me. About to lose everything. Do you no longer love me? Were those years a dream? If evicted, Ray, my life is over. I didn't reply. After 5 calls, I blocked her number. 2 days later, she called another number. Email, Instagram, and LinkedIn communications started after I shut that down. The final message was, I'll find you if you don't react. Brittany took the risk no one thought she could take. During a Monday morning meeting with my IT team about a new HVAC contract for a coastal hotel chain, the office glass door blew open, setting off the security bell. Raised my gaze. Brittany remained at the threshold. Tearing mascara, messy hair, dirty heels. She shouted, I must speak with my sister, making the room silent. My eyes were fixed as I stood up. Brittany, this is work. This is not the place to rant. Brittany wailed, You're destroying my life. You can't cut ties with me like our history doesn't matter. Before I could respond, security guards approached her with authority. Madam, please leave. Right now. Stay away from me, Brittany glared. This business's manager is my sister. Moving on, I remained calm. Not the leader, but his sibling. Your failure to face the consequences of your actions does not allow you to interfere with my efforts. Her final yell was, You're leaving me behind. But no one responded. Misunderstanding appearances. Lack of consensus. She left with security leading her out in the chilly silence. Later that day, my phone vibrated again. Mother? I waited before responding. What happened earlier today, Rachel? Brittany notified me of her dismissal from your workplace. She feels humiliated. Each sip of water was quiet and deliberate. Know the implications of her expulsion? Mom spoke tremblingly. I understand, I said with conviction, and she must comprehend accountability. She replied that families shouldn't betray each other. Her sibling, you. My tone remained as I set my glass on the table. Her sibling. I was always a means to an end for her. After stopping my financial support, I was no longer family. Rachel, please. My relationship with her ended. I didn't labor for a decade to be shamed. Inhale deeply. The bank should be contacted or learn rejection like I did. I hung up. Aunt Linda called the next day. Uncle Robert followed. A high school classmate I hadn't heard from in almost 10 years contacted me. Rachel, might your sister be expelled? There are rumors you crossed a line. I stayed mute. There was no necessity. One undisputed fact illuminated my life for the first time. Not only a moneymaker anymore, I learned that manipulation kills sincere love. Not anymore. In the days after the job incident, I anticipate family turmoil. It happened just as planned. Midnight calls, frequent messages, all about those 2 words, family ties. You seem remote. Still your sister. Rachel, rumors say you've changed. Your familial care has waned, expressions that once made me cry. I put the phone on my desk, watched the pine trees dance in the autumn breeze, and welcomed the silence. No more justifications, no more apologies. I stopped justifying myself. During a December morning ventilation review for a new shopping complex project, Tessa texted me. I saw your mom at the shop. She added that Chloe left school and moved home. To be honest, they appeared exhausted. I stopped typing. The message caught my attention. She said she still blames you. It was expected. My mother could always delegate responsibility. I usually had that duty. Chloe struggling because she can't face reality? Unimportant. What mattered was my courage to leave what wasn't right. Instead of sadness, I felt release. I started a new life as they continued to accuse and deny truth. I invested in my business instead of Chloe's schooling, hiring 2 qualified technicians, buying advanced carbon monoxide testing gear, and painting the workplace a modern, neutral color scheme. I also signed a 3-year maintenance contract with Lodo Coffee Shops, $100,000. Now I work because I love it, not because I'm insecure. No one can devalue me for not wearing a business name badge. Nobody asks, when will you get a real job? When I say I manage a technological team, no one reacts. Above all, I refuse to be ignored. My moss green sweater covered my exhausted body on Christmas Eve as I sat alone on the couch. The neighbors' lights flashed outside the window and church bells chimed faintly. I filled a glass with white wine to relax with a light comedy before bed. My phone suddenly brightened the darkness. A note from my mother. Rachel, the holidays are incomplete without you. It's empty without you. Contact me. I don't remember how long I focused on that message. Maybe for a moment? Perhaps an entire life was condensed into one moment. I remembered past Christmases. I always provided the tiny tree, wrapped all the gifts, and paid for supper with money I might have spent for myself. My attempts never made me feel adequate in public. I exhaled gently and silently withdrew the message from my screen with a troubled heart. It wasn't a lack of wanting them. Not because I didn't love them. I now understood the importance of respecting oneself above those who never did. I doubt Brittany will change. No apology from my mother is expected. I hope I can live without needing approval to be. I received a handwritten note from an unexpected source in my mailbox several weeks after Christmas, as Denver experienced its first cold, wet rains. My grandmother, Joan Whitmore. She left our family years ago. After her grandfather's death, she moved to a modest Boulder suburb home about 3 hours away. I only visited her a few times a year, mostly during the holidays. However, she was the only family member who never judged my lifestyle or choices. Her only wish was my presence, grinning, and those aged, callous hands made everything I had. Her letter was carefully written, leaning elegantly like her speech. Dear Rachel, I'm aware of the family's recent happenings, but don't know. When a woman like you sets limits, people feel uneasy. Don't let that slow you. Who has sacrificed as much for you as you have for them? Your accomplishments make me proud. Wisdom in protecting your emotions is more important than wealth or commitments. I read that letter 3 times. She was the only one who understood me without explanation amid accusations and guilt. I realized that she may have been the first to teach me that prioritizing my needs isn't betrayal. I originally thought familial relationships were unbreakable. I thought giving everything I had would make them love, accept, and be proud of me. The scenario was misjudged. When they've only exploited, no one must adore you. What about you? No family connection should make you risk your life. I believed for too long that my worth was based on my contributions. I originally thought tuition payments, costly birthday gifts, and vacations I sacrificed to work extra hours were gestures of love. However, sincere love does not require concealment. True love should never dishonor your livelihood. You don't have to limit yourself for others' achievement. If someone asks that, it's not love. The issue is power. I've discarded my shame of silence when mom calls under the family guise. I no longer react to relatives calling me stubborn or chilly. I no longer imagine Brittany coming to my door, crying, hugging me, and acknowledging her mistakes. I'm past it. I have learned to stay calm, stand firm in the face of others' criticisms, and speak clearly. I wasn't meant to be a secondary character. If you find yourself like me and your kindness is received with silence, criticism, or apathy, remember this. Setting limitations isn't selfish. Bravery is needed. Respecting rather than turmoil does not reflect adversely on you. It shows your growth. You finally know your worth. Brittany may never learn that lesson. Will my mother ever pay for her actions? However, I know. Returning to my former self is unacceptable. The quiet expense handler was never invited to join the discourse. The individual who always made the correct choices yet was mocked. I prioritized my health, not for revenge, but to enjoy life. Rachel's story shows that a family needs respect and recognition to prosper. In a world that judges people by appearance or social status, she found the fortitude to set boundaries and prioritize her health, motivated by value, not malice. She explains that true love is not unconditional sacrifice. Recognizing when you've been taken advantage of is the first step to reclaiming your worth and living a free, deserving, and strong life. Your thoughts on Rachel's choice? Was setting restrictions and prioritizing her needs the right choice? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe for more honest, emotional, and inspiring family stories.